It's Jessie, and joining me is Phil Demmel of the thrash metal band VIO-LENCE. Thank you so much for joining me.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So let's dive right into it. VIO-LENCE are gearing up to release this brand new album, Let the World Burn. It's set to drop March 4th. Tell me about this EP.
Okay, 5-song EP, Metal Blade Records. We had gotten together to do some shows back in 2019. It kind of blossomed into more shows and more interest and festival offers, and to the point that we were like, do we like each other enough to maybe write some music, and we deemed ourselves worthy of doing that, and started writing some music, and came together pretty easy and pretty fast. And so we wanted to we didn't want to go shopping, and we didn't want to go to labels and stuff. I wanted to put out a record with Brian and Tracy at Metal Blade. I just went to them and said, just give us a fair deal. We're, nobody's getting rich these days. Let's just give us a fair deal. We want to do a record with you guys and get on, be part of that Metal Blade family for a record. And so we did, and went in and recorded, and came out great, and super excited. And there you go, 5 songs.
Well, this is VIO-LENCE's new material in almost 30 years? 30 years, Phil. I mean, what was that like for you being in the room again with these guys playing these old VIO-LENCE tracks? Was it muscle memory? Did it take a little bit?
I had been playing pretty consistently since then. Most of the guys hadn't been, and so there was the songs came to us because we remember the songs. They're kind of inbred, and I remember more about my earlier VIO-LENCE short, because it was such a short time that we were together and touring. Then I had 16 years of Machine Head, and I still remember just about every day of that first VIO-LENCE tour, but I forgot so much of just recent Machine Head tours or whatever. And so it was a lot of getting used to. Are you recording now? Is this audio only, or is it video too?
Video as well.
Okay, I'm glad I got my glasses on, casting this huge glare on the screen.
Okay, I'm doing the same.
So, yeah, I think that everybody getting back together, and as it went, Perry was getting his wind up and being able to play, because the songs are hard, and it took some time, but we got there for sure.
Well, you mentioned Machine Head, and you played in countless bands, and Machine Head being one of them. And I wouldn't really classify Machine Head as thrash per se, but I mean, VIO-LENCE very much is. So how has it been writing these thrash songs? Has it been challenging going back into it?
Yeah, Machine Head had its thrash moments.
Yeah. And
I didn't write a lot of thrash parts for the band. So when we first started writing, it was like almost this freedom of like, holy fuck, I'm writing a thrash record, this is pretty liberating. And so I didn't immerse myself, but I went back and revisited Eternal Nightmare. It's a song, music that I wrote when I was pretty much in high school and just and so getting back in that mindset. So I wanted to, it came easy, but I wanted to cull those qualities of that first record and use my 35 years songwriting and musicianship and guitar playing experience, and kind of meld them together to kind of like do an updated version of that record. I didn't want to rewrite that record. I wanted to take the qualities, but I also want to infuse all this new life and abilities and knowledge and wisdom, just kind of like feed it all into 1988 me and over here. So I think pretty, I feel like I did. I'm super happy with all the tunes. They were all just put through the filter and put through the riff police, cause now that sounds too much like, well, I can make it sound like this now, and every roll was accounted for, every drum beat, every note, every key change was changed, and just I wanted these songs to be perfect, man, and I'm really, really pleased with the way they turned out.
Well, you mentioned Eternal Nightmare. That is such, I mean, it rips and it's such a staple. It really is. Did you find at times for this new album that you almost were beating your old record per se? You know, you had to beat it, make it stronger, heavier, faster.
Yeah, the $6 million man.
Yeah.
Faster, stronger. I don't think faster. I think that there was even moments where we're like, I can't play this riff with you playing this fast, Perry. So, you know, we got him onto a click track. It's just like, because it takes away from, and even with, we've done that, revisiting the old songs, it's just like, we need to play these slower because you're losing the riff and all the madness. It just sounds like a wall of sound. We have to be cohesive and sound like a band.
Yeah.
So I think that, you know, you can't take away the energy and that genuine, you know, naivety of writing music from that 18-year-old kid. But I can say that, you know, because I'm still super young at heart, that it still has that youthful, you know, frenetic, just ridiculous, you know. I think that the structures are better, but it's still got that aggression and that energy.
Yeah. Well, Violence dropped your first new song, Flesh from Bone. It is awesome, I must say. I'm loving that song.
Awesome.
And definitely didn't disappoint. There's a few things I noticed. I noticed that some of the riffs reminded me of Exodus.
Yeah.
And a little bit. Oh. What were you going for with that song? Because it was so good.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because there is a riff in there that after I wrote it, I'm all, holy crap, that's straight up an Exodus riff, you know? And I even told Gary, I sent him the song, I'm all, there's a straight up Exodus jack here, see if you can spot it. And he did it. So I'm glad you did it. But yeah. There is, you know, I'm wearing my influences on my sleeve here. There's some Slayer moments in there too. And I wear it with pride. You know, it's, I wanted this song to be like the burner, the fast one coming out, you know, super aggressive, the breakdown in the middle, good solo section. It kind of like covers everything about what the band was about.
Were you nervous at all releasing it because it's been so long? Were you nervous about how fans would receive it?
I don't know. I don't think that I'm so confident in what thrash fans or violence fans would be, that they would enjoy it. I think that they would be super. I had played it for a couple of friends and a lot were blown away. I've been sending it out to a bunch of people just to kind of get the I've been leaking it out just to people. Yeah, just so people, you know, people that I know who would talk would be just like, I had that much confidence in it. They would go, oh, have you heard the new Violence? It fucking rips, you know, put it in the pipeline type deal. And it's worked, man. It's got such a positive response to it. Of course, there's, you know, the tipping point with this band has always been the vocals. You know, people love or hate Sean.
Yes.
You know? And it still remains true. And, you know, I love his vocals. I love his lyrics. I love the way he writes. I love his cadences, because he's, I've said this a million times, but I'll say it again, that Sean's not really a musician. You know, he's a dude who loves music and knows what he likes to hear. So he has this out of the box mentality, like, what if we did this here? And it's just like, I would have never thought of that, but that's fucking such a cool and weird idea. Let's try it, you know? So he's got this refreshing idea.
You know, I've listened to the whole album, and the song that grabbed me was Screaming Always. And it's because of Sean's vocals. He sounds so sinister, you know? He just sounds so sinister.
Yeah. Yeah. He has moments. And what I like about these songs is they're all kind of different. They all have violence qualities. And that's what I wanted to do with the EP, was like, I don't want to be redundant in any part. I don't want to have another Flesh song on there. I don't want to have another Upon Their Cross song on there. We have one of each. Their attention spans are so short now in the instant gratification world that we live in. It's just like, give them a taste of each of these things and with screaming. Yeah, he's just, it's the fastest song on there. It's the hardest song to play, and it's super frantic and just, he's just out of his mind.
I love the harmonies. I love the riffs, and it was the lyrics too. Empathy is absent from withering minds. I love that. It's just
So good.
holy crap. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's brilliant. His lyrics are awesome.
So another thing I was really impressed with, and you kind of touched on this as well, was the drumming and Perry. I heard you put him through the ringer.
I did. Perry hadn't played in a bit, and going through these reunion shows, I think that he'll admit that his focus, and he's got this ADHD, squirrel, just I had to kind of take him through and teach him how I read our songs, like, in learning all the cover songs and all the fill-in stuff that I do and all the covers that I've learned, is learning to map a song out and break it down into sections, and kind of showed him how I do that. And he kind of like, okay, he's thinking about what's coming next. He's just not kind of just flying by. He's structuring, hey, right on this part, hat on this, and kind of he's thinking and counting. So it's like, oh, okay, I've done this before. I know that I'm doing something next. So he's got these amazing fast hands and great ideas. And it took a lot of honing in and working on counts. And I'd be just, he's like, why are you yelling at me?
I'm sure he loved that. I'm sure he just loved that.
I'm sure he went home quite a few times just fucking cursing my name.
Oh, yeah.
But we agreed at the end of the day that it's like, if we're going to do this, then it needs to be this way. I don't want to be a shitty, because some of these reunion shows I just got done after just gone, I guess we're just a shitty live band, I guess we just play shitty, it's, and I said, if that's what we're going to be, then that's what we're going to be. But everybody agreed that, like, let's put in some work. Let's try to, our past live shows have been some of the best that Perry's played, just contained, controlled. He knows our songs. And, I don't think that either of us could have continued to play with each other if we didn't go through that process together. This record was built on me and Perry in that studio for hours, sometimes going on one part for hours, until we clicked. He needed to learn on how I speak and how musically, and learn my language. And we needed to, he was speaking, he was speaking redneck, and I'm speaking, Zimbabwe or something, and then we were just not communicating, it's just, I needed to teach him how I spoke, and he was open to that, and he put in the work, and, it was hard, and recording with him was hard, and he fucking did it. It took probably every ounce of his being, and he did it, and he's killing it playing. And, I'm really proud of the dude.
Well, as the Australians say, we're not here to fuck spiders. And I mean, you guys proved that with this new album, right? You really did. Now, Phil, I know you've told this story countless times. I don't care. I need to ask. I need to hear it myself. I need you to tell me about your relationship with Gary Holt and playing in Slayer when you filled in. How was that?
Been doing press for you're my last one this morning, and sometimes I just get caught up in the moment, and
very fair.
I've been really, really lucky, and I hate using the word blessed, as people, if anybody that's followed my socials, or the hashtag blessed thing, bro, that's right. I'm super grateful for the career that I've had, and the last one I did, I broke it down. Man, I've had like 4 different musical careers, from going from out of high school in violence to, getting married, and then starting my band Torque and releasing a record with me singing on that, to quitting music altogether, to getting starting a band called Technocracy with my bros and putting a record out with them. That leads to the Violence reunion in 2001. And that leads to me joining Machine Head, a 16-year career with Machine Head, a 16-year career in a band. Bands don't last near that.
No, God, no.
In my time in that band, what's even more incredible is that there was 10 years of Machine Head before me.
Yeah.
And there's been, 3+ years after me, and there will be continue to be more. So to have that small section or that section of that band was an incredible run. And as that ended, and as that door gets shut, the next day, I'm not even out of Machine Head for 24 hours, getting a text from Kerry King saying, hey, would you be able to learn 19 songs and be on a plane in a couple of days? I had just gotten home. We played the last show, and my wife had been home taking care of our newborn and running our business. And she came to the last Machine Head show and I'm like, you get trashed, you tear it up. I'll drive us home. And she did. And she did. She got hammered and was throwing up all over backstage. And so I create this Dexter kill room in the front seat of my things, racks everywhere. So she could, I drive her home through the winding hills of Santa Cruz. And so she's still hung over the next day. I'm at the foot of the bed and I'm reading the text, and I just dropped the phone, and she's like, what? Who's that? And I pick it up again just to make sure that I read it right, and told her, and she's like, man, you got to go. You have to. And so I evidently, the story is that Gary's father is on his deathbed, and Gary wants to get home and say goodbye. And so I learned, so that's a Sunday. Last Machine Head show Saturday. Sunday, I get the text. Monday, I go to pick up all my gear from the Machine Head storage because it's the divorce day. So I'm picking all that stuff up. Yeah. And then Tuesday, I'm on a flight to fucking Germany.
Oh my God. Where was the break? There was no break.
I didn't have a chance to really sit with the tunes yet. So I spent the entire flight going over there, breaking down the songs, structuring everything out, seeing whose side I think is what. And I land, and my guitars don't show up.
Oh my God.
So I'm spending the first night on one of Carrie's songs. On one of Carrie's guitars. It's in drop B, and only one song is in. So I'm transposing all this stuff from the drop tune up. It was just a comedy of errors. And finally see Gary, and Gary's the forefather for all us, thrash guys from the East Bay, and he wore an Exodus shirt there,
Yeah.
That he's our hero. I mean, he's the reason why a lot of us are able to do what we're doing, and look up to him so much, and to go from this huge leap of faith on my part, leaving this band that I've been in, and really unsure of my worth, or going through this huge soul searching part of me, and am I good enough? Where am I at in this industry? And to have the band that they're the reason why I play heavy music back in the day. I saw them in '84 and just said, fuck, I want to be in a thrash band, and I was either going to go the Dokken route or, which I still love Dokken, but he just found my calling writing this stuff over here. And, to have that band have me fill in on their farewell tour, it's a storybook ending, for that part. And I couldn't be more thankful for that. I mean, they saved my career. I don't know if I would have continued at that point. And for them to say that, hey, you're good enough, and we want you to fucking do this, and to have this legendary guitar player say, we want you to take my part in this, is just fucking huge.
I can only imagine the band's contacting you afterwards too, right? Hey, you want to be like, fill in? Can you help us here?
I think that became the holy shit, you learned this amount in this time. And it was really, I've always been good at those memory shows where you go, oh, hey, where's everything here? And one thing I would do in the Machine Head meet and greets, which were 30 people a day, was as they'd come through the line, I would say, hey, Tommy, hey, I'm Phil. Okay, Tom, and then as everybody's going through the line, after we'd go take pictures, and I'd go up to them and I go, hey, you're Billy and you're Shauna and blah, blah, blah. And so I would go 28, 29 out of 30 most. And it was just, just out of just exercise for my brain type deal. But I've always had a pretty good memory in that sense. And
I'll shake someone's hand and forget their name within that second.
but then after that, like recently, it's just like, fuck, you just told me your name and I forgot. I don't commit it to memory as I'm 50, going on 55 years old, So I think that became this thing, like, oh my God, he learned 19 songs in 3 days. It was actually more like 5 days. I was ready after 3 days, but I had 5 days before the first show. It becomes this, oh, he learned 40 songs in 5 minutes or something like that.
Yeah. Impressive.
This legend type deal. So other bands have come, and I filled in with my buddies at Nonpoint, and did this Overkill thing, and it's pretty fun.
Pretty fun. I have to ask now, obviously you have this relationship with Robb Flynn as well. Has he heard any of the tracks?
I have no relationship with Robb.
All right, so then no.
No.
All right, and my last question for you. If you were introducing someone to VIO-LENCE who had never heard of the band before, what would be the song you show them first? It's a tricky one, I know.
I'd probably just have to say Eternal Nightmare. It was the first song on the first record. It has all the elements, the fast stuff, the breakdown, not really a breakdown, but the midsection, the backups, the solos. I'd say Eternal Nightmare. Amazing.
Well, I cannot wait for more people to hear this new album. Drops March 4th. Super excited. It has been a pleasure chatting with you.
Awesome, Jessie. Good hanging. Thanks for all the support of the record, so yeah. Is this on, where is this going to be put up on?
So this is going to be put up on Metal and Wani. It's also going to be put up on my own personal Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter, all over on YouTube as well.
Awesome. Be sure to tag, the band and myself in this, and we can help spread the word.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Awesome.
Talk soon.
Awesome. Cheers. Thank you.